Ladies and gentlemen, this stream is now in session. Obi-Wan 362, Gamer Law presiding. And welcome to the great Ace Attorney Chronicles. I would just like for it to be noted, for the record, look at the similarities between my courtroom and their courtroom. Their courtroom, my courtroom. My courtroom, their courtroom. Alright. Anyway, we are on trial for murder. So. Let's get to it, shall we? My birthday, 11:38 a.m. Supreme Court of the Judicature Defendants Antechamber 5. Excellent. Oh wait, no. Excellent work, Ryunosuke. That was superb. Is there? Okay, voices are on. On-table story mode in place of autoplay, allowing you to progress through the game automatically. Oh, the game plays itself. Well, that's fancy. I was in my mouth the entire time. It was almost unbelievable. I mean, looking at you in there, you're drenched in sweat, your eyes popping, your knees knocking, and you were grinding your teeth. It was a grim sight. Before I knew it, I started finding inconsistencies in the testimonies. I think you might have a natural talent for being a lawyer. Forget it! It's terrifying! If I get through this, I don't ever want to see the inside of a courtroom again. Anyway, looks like we've exposed your phantom lady at last. Aw. Miss Giselle Brett, student from Great Britain, is she? So I was trying to tell everyone from the start. Oh my gosh. Dr. Wilson wasn't alone. There was a young woman with him, like I've been saying all along. Yes, you have, haven't you? I may not be overly confident in the courtroom, but my powers of observation are one thing I am sure of. Where am I? Yes, I can see that. So, about this young gentlewoman. He's our detective friend. She was hastily escorted away from the scene, it seems. Did you see what happened with that? No, I didn't see any of it. Just on my way out of the restaurant myself. Then, on the floor next to Dr. Wilson's table, there was a gun lying on the floor. Just after I bent down and picked it up. Bang in my ear. Didn't have time to think about where the sound of the gunshot had come from. The waiter ran over to me, looking as white as a sheet. He bundled me into some sort of small pantry next to the kitchen. Fast thinking by the detective, he apprehended his suspect without a moment's delay. Yeah, because I was shut in the pantry, I have no idea what happened outside in the dining area. Ah, there you are. Well done, both of you. Professor Mikotoba. Well, it seems I was right. Pair of you make an outstanding team. You've exceeded my expectations, I have to say. Yes, it seems you planned this from the start. You arranged things so that I wouldn't be able to act as a lawyer in this trial. The modern country is still in its infancy. Our justice system, even more so. Which is why I firmly believe that we need to send our brightest young stars overseas to learn all they can. I wanted to avoid a situation that may have resulted in your study tour to Great Britain being cancelled. Well, it makes no difference. Lawyer or otherwise, if I'm the kind of man who can't help his best friend avert the worst crises of his life, I shouldn't waste everyone's time by going to study overseas anyway. Look at him being noble. What? Are you saying, Kazuma? Kazuma. So that's your stance? I was afraid you'd feel that way. Kazuma. Well then, looks like it all comes down to you, young man. Frick. To me? Yes, you need to prove your innocence and uncover what really took place in that restaurant. Can I just do the first one? I shouldn't have to do the second one to do the first one. I must say, I very much want to know the truth. After all, I have a personal connection to this case. Come to think of it, he said the same thing earlier this morning, didn't he? If you don't mind me asking, Professor, did you know the victim? Yes, I did. As you're probably aware, Dr. John H. Wilson was a visiting professor at UMI. It was I who invited him. Oh, that sucks. I'm the one who brought him to his death. Anyway, you're about to go into battle. The victim was a university professor from Great Britain, and a well-known one at that. Naturally, our government is looking to identify and punish the culprit as quickly as possible. Let's not forget who we're going up against. The gentlewoman whose involvement in our police bureau went to extraordinary lengths to hide. I feel nauseous. Yes, and I'm sure the prosecution will be using every tool at their disposal to quash your case. But I've no doubt that you pair will put up a good fight, right to the last. Best of luck. Thank you! Now then. I need you to run an errand at the university at once. There's something I think we may need. Of course. Good luck, Kazuma-sama. Oh? Defendant Naruhodo! Court recess is over. Please make your way back inside the courtroom at once. It's time. Let's get back to it, partner. Let's go in there and deal a decisive blow. Before those old fossils know what's hit them. Like with the sword? Or just with words? Kazuma? What? Thank you. Really. What for? Well, if you hadn't said you believed me, then I'm fairly sure I'd already been found guilty by now. Look, I have faith in you. As a lawyer, and as a friend. Aww. Coming from you, that means a lot. I'm just an art major. If I'm found guilty in this trial, he's really gonna give up on his dream of studying abroad. That's the kind of true friend he is. So, this isn't just my battle anymore. Whoever we're up against, we absolutely cannot afford to lose. Alright then. Save the thank yous for after the trial. you treat me to one of those sukiyaki meals I like from Yume Cafeteria on University Street. That was too much. That was too much extra information at the end. An extra large portion, of course. The court hereby resumes the trial of Ryunosuke Naruhodo. Prosecutor Aochi, have you managed to subpoena the witness?
Yes, Your Excellency, against all odds. And thanks to a certain young stripling?
That seems inappropriate.
The prosecution is now under rather painful scrutiny from the government.
Sorry. Why are you sorry? Let the government scrutinize. That's their job. It's nothing to worry about.
It's highly unlikely that the good relations we've forged with Great Britain will emerge from this trial unscathed. Will you still think it's nothing to worry about when the new treaty breaks down on our nation founders?
Also, is that the word? Does founder have a different meaning than I'm coming up with?
I've heard flounder. Is it also a term?
Huh, I've never heard that before. I believe you, just never heard it before. Again, terribly sorry. If the friendship between our nations is really so fragile, then the treaty isn't worth the paper it's written on. You really have nothing to worry about, Ryunosuke.
What do you mean?
A secret trial, anxiety over some foreign government's opinions, a bungled investigation, missing witnesses? Is this what our nation's justice system is? Is this the Supreme Court of Japan or of England? I feel like it just feels weird. Middle English, Old French. Huh, okay. Submerge or collapse. Interesting. Right. I said that. Or repeat that after you said it, I guess I should say.
Interesting.
That's weird.
Shut up! Shut up, you jumped up rookie boy! You and your friend know nothing. Nothing of the situation our nation finds itself in. Oh no. By aligning ourselves with this great world power, we'll become strong. Diplomacy has never been more crucial. Whatever. Steady political maneuvering is what will secure our futures.
Can you stop looking like you're hopped up on amphetamines with your eyes? Stop it. I won't deny that I'm no expert, just a student. One who could arguably study harder, too. But standing here now in our Supreme Court, there's one thing that I feel very strongly. A country that fails to uphold the truth in its justice system is a country with no future at all. Ooh. Ooh. Oh. Well said, Ryunosuke, despite the wide-eyed look of terror.
You little brats!
Thank you, Counsel. This court is the pinnacle of our nation's justice system and exists solely for the pursuance of truth. With that in mind, this trial will now resume with the next witness taking the stand. Visiting student from Great Britain, Miss Gisele Brett. I don't know if that's the name or not. I can't.
Yes. Your Excellency!
Sir. You hit your head on the table, sir. Oh my. She has a full swan on her head.
Well, what a delight it is
Oh, excuse me.
to welcome such a fine gentlewoman to Japan, and from such a distant land.
Tea! Someone bring English tea! In England, no discussions take place without tea.
Sir, also, do you have a decanter on... up there? What? I don't care if it's water or not, that's a decanter. Is that true?
No idea.
So, could we possibly trouble you to state your name and occupation for the court?
Real. Of course. My name is Satoru Hasanaga. I've been working undercover as the head waiter at Le Carnival with my troupe.
Yes, we know all about you already.
Sector Hasanaga, where are your manners? But it's always ladies first.
Is that true?
No idea. More importantly, earlier today you said something to me. You said your powers of observation are the one thing you're sure of. Oh yeah. I think I did, didn't I? Yet your description of this amazing sight was simply a woman. Look, if you're that smitten with her, you should ask her out. I think you're single. I don't know. Sorry, Ryunosuke, but powers of observation aside, powers of description are sorely lacking. I mean, I assume she wasn't wearing the swan when I saw her. I think I would have noticed a full bird on her head. Guilty.
So, dear lady, once again, if I may trouble you for your name and occupation, please.
What? What? Everybody's speaking Japanese, and she's speaking English. That's all I got. That's it. Or it's her accent, one of the two. I don't know. All I know is it's amazing.
I'm terribly sorry, dear lady, but... Say what?
Like, I want to have some idea what that's supposed to be. The lady says her name is Giselle Brett. She comes from London, England. She's a visiting research student currently enrolled in Umaya University's medical faculty. I fixed it.
Oh my, what a rare treat to hear the dulcet tones of the delightful language of the British people. I'm afraid I don't understand a word you said, but it was as beautiful as a hummingbird's song.
far as I can tell, the detective is translating her words faithfully enough. Yes, I agree. You'll obviously do fine in England, Kazuma. Your English doesn't rattle you at all, does it? Nor you. You've clearly been paying attention in your English classes, Ryunosuke. Nuh-uh. The court thanks the beautiful lady for taking the stand. Now, if we may trouble you to confirm something, Miss Brett. 3 days ago, at a restaurant called Le Carnaval, a grim murder took place. The court has been led to believe that you were dining there with the victim, Dr. Wilson, at the time. Is that correct?
Yes. But, the time should have reset by now. Because it's done because of the time zone. So, you should be able to get something new today. Now.
She says, yes. That looked like a lot more than yes, sir. It's gonna take some time. So even though she's studying here in Japan, she can't speak any Japanese? Also, and this is worth noting, as someone who has done hearings involving interpreters, yeah, that's about right. This is about right. That's what it feels like. She'd like to apologize for disappearing from the scene. She says that she was due to make a presentation at the university, so she had to leave immediately. Interesting. You're the one who engineered her escape. I was just following special orders from the Bureau.
Well now, dear lady, would you be so kind as to cast your eyes over this photographic print? Seeing as you were so unfortunately present at the scene of the crime, could it be that your resplendent eyes caught sight of the wicked perpetrator, perhaps?
Apparently it was a very frightening and sorrowful sight. Do you mean to say... Yes, it would appear the lady did witness the crime. The very moment when the accused, standing right there in this courtroom, shot the victim in cold blood. Oh, I object. Strenuously. Order! Order in the court!
Did you hear that, Your Excellency? Here we have an absolutely conclusive witness statement.
Well, looks like it's clear now. Clear who our real enemy is. Unfortunately, I'll have to ask you to formally testify if you please. Kindly tell the court the exact nature of this frightening and sorrowful sight you described. Can you put the mask down, ma'am, and take off the swan?
We mean no, Bubbles. Oh no, when we poke holes in her story, her hat's gonna fall off. That's just science.
I'd arranged to meet for a slightly late luncheon with Dr. Wilson that day. The professor was unable to eat, so I ordered for myself only a beefsteak. After a while, the accused came over to greet the professor and got into a fierce argument. Then, not long afterwards, the accused took the professor's gun and shot him right before my eyes. I don't carry a gun myself, so obviously I couldn't have been the culprit. This is a condemning test indeed. Oh! No! I didn't have any kind of argument with the professor at all.
Objection!
Quiet, you filthy wretch! Look at you, you black-hearted blackguard! And look at this snow-white angel! I'm sure even a dark-minded scoundrel like you can imagine whose words the court is going to believe.
Still making the same mistakes, Ryanosuke. You mustn't blurt out when you're goaded like that. It's a lesson you need to learn. He's so annoying. Oh my gosh, the two of them are the two voices I hear in my head in court. The one that wants to just be like, shut up, you're annoying. The other one who's like, I'm not allowed to do that. Of course, I was at the scene as well. I took statements from this lady and the two witnesses who testified before, and reported back to the Bureau. It was decided that Miss Brett was not involved, so I let her go. The testimonies of the last two witnesses were completely worthless, however. Well, even so. On the day in question, the lady was wearing the same outfit as she is today. As you can see, there's nowhere about her person where she could conceal a firearm. Nowhere? Do you see the size of that bird? And that butt. Bubbles keeps saying bustle, which is just English for butt. Bustle. That was good, and you're just angry about it. I think she could hide a gun almost anywhere in that outfit if she wanted to.
Unless and until the precise location where the witness is to have hidden a weapon can be shown, this is moot.
The precise location, that does not feel appropriate for court. There are no pockets in my outfit. I have nowhere to hide a gun. Those are the witness's own words on the matter. That's ridiculous. If only I was allowed to lift up her dress, I could prove it. Whoa, Ryanosuke, that is not collegial. Don't think about doing anything rash, Ryanosuke. Didn't fire the gun I picked up! Must have been another gun there that day. You're right about that. Which means this lady was hiding a gun somewhere. Yes, that's what we have to prove now. To do so, we'll need to pull her testimony apart. The smirk! She smirked! Which means she understands Japanese. The defense may now cross-examine the witness. Oh, yes, Your Excellency. I don't feel good. I don't like it. Okay, we're gonna look through our stuff. Okay. Slightly late lunch with Dr. Wilson that day.
Yes!
Yes! After 2 p.m., in fact. It's really quite a late lunch, isn't it?
Objection!
You don't keep up with the latest fashions from Britain, do you? Late luncheons are on vogue, isn't that right?
No. incisive English no has quite a sting to it. No. The gentlewoman is currently working in the victim's research laboratory, it seems. So it was apparently a daily occurrence that they would lunch together. But on the day in question, the victim had another appointment at the clinic first. Yes, which you can prove from the medical report card that was submitted as evidence earlier. Ms. Brett and the victim went to lunch following the victim's treatment, which is why it was so late. Yes, that all makes perfect sense.
Such wonderful logic. What a shining example of English intelligence this fine gentlewoman is.
I will punch you. Smack you with your fan. So you both arrived at the restaurant. What happened next? Only a beefsteak, you say? Then what about the bottle of carbonated water?
Yes!
He was unable to eat, you say? And that was because he just had a tooth removed at Hoda Clinic, correct? That's right. Not talking to you. You're supposed to actually check with the witness before answering.
Hey, Pompano, what you doing?
Don't bite my foot. Don't do it. Aww. Rub her face and licking it. You go pump it up. Was Miss Brett aware of that fact? It seems so, yes. She heard the professor was to have some dental treatment. So that would mean... that it was you who ate the steak pictured here. Is that right, Miss Brett? That's right, yes. The printer you have there shows the table exactly as it was left after the horrifying events. Exactly as it was left. Dear me, what a harrowing experience! To have traveled to a distant land on the far side of the world and be embroiled in such a tragic incident. Have no fear, my dear lady. I swear I will crush the evil fiend that has subjected you to this terrible plight. So the victim, Dr. Wilson, had nothing to eat or drink at all? That's right. Other than some carbonated water. There it is. Just water? Yes, the professor was unable to eat, but he had been given permission to drink water. So it appears that the diners toasted their lunch with a glass of water each. Each raised a glass of carbonated water. What do you think, Ryunosuke? About the witness' last statement. It's very meaningful. No idea why. Carbonated water. But why would you use carbonated water? Wait a minute! No. Wait, Bubbles said you can't have it because it's spicy. But, more importantly, direct your attention to the one glass! It's very meaningful indeed. I love how every time he smacks it and it doesn't make a sound, he just like looks at his hands disappointedly. That last statement of yours, Miss Brett, has a profound bearing on this case. Well, how fascinating. View Unity Gaming, welcome to the courtroom. How are you doing? Do tell us, what is this profound bearing? The significance of this statement will become apparent when the time is right. The defense calls for the witness' last statement to be formally added to the testimony.
Well sidestepped, Counsel.
Very well, Miss Brett. Kindly repeat what you just said to be added to your official testimony. Gladly, she said. It's brilliant, Kazuma. I'm gonna remember that one. Which one? The significance will become apparent when the time is right. I can really use that phrase. Good. I hope there are some more useful tips you're picking up from this experience than that. Ryunosuke. Don't worry about it. I ordered a beefsteak for myself, and the professor and I said cheers over a glass of carbonated water.
Yes!
So both you and the professor drank this carbonated water, did you? Yes. Being the waiter, I poured the 2 glasses myself. I clearly remember doing so. Except you're actually a detective, but that's fine, whatever. And the beefsteak, that was for you, Miss Brett. The lady says that she'd heard it was not customary to eat beef here until Japan opened its doors to the world. Yes, that's true. I never had beef before that. What a frightful place, is the lady's opinion. Well, that's rude. And I've heard it's not customary to eat sashimi in Great Britain. Now that's frightful. Yeah, take that, Great Britain. See how great you are. Isn't that right, Papa? No. Every country has its own cuisine. As long as people have food to eat, doesn't matter what it is. True. Come to think of it. First time I tried carbonated water was much more of a shock than the first time I tried beef. Anyway, back to the witness's statement. That face! Somehow, I feel like there's something out of place in what she's saying. Also, I think I detect a foul odor. Need to pounce on even the slightest thing now. Because you never know what might lead us to our goal. Our goal of turning this trial around. Understood, Kazuma. Oh boy. The accused came to Greek depression, gone to nope. Ordered beefsteak for myself, the professor, and I said cheer. Present to you exhibit crime scene photo.
Yes!
That's it? Let me just confirm something, please. It's to do with this photographic print. Just a short while ago, you spoke of this print showing the victim's table at the crime scene. That it was exactly as it was left. That is correct, the lady says. Gosh dang it, man. Well, that is... It's odd. It's very odd. Dear me, what's odd is the defense's inability to express itself. Ryunosuke, what is it about the print that looks odd to you? Well, obviously, it's the cheers. The cheers. Miss Brett just told us that she and the professor said cheers over a glass of water. But if that's true, there should be 2 glasses on the table, not 1. Oh. You're quite right, Counsel. There's only 1 glass pictured here.
Objection!
Are we supposed to be impressed by this nitpicking over minutia?
Yes.
What possible difference does the presence or absence of a glass make on the case?
Objection!
Minutia, you say? Could it be that the detective here removed a glass from the table to conceal the lady's presence? Of course not. I would never do something so reckless.
But there should have been 2 glasses on the table. Are you going to try to tell me you can clink with only 1?
You're quite right. I certainly took 2 glasses to the table. What's Pump doing? Inspector, what did the lady say? It would seem that it was Miss Brett who took the glass from the table. What? It was also terrifying, everything that happened. I panicked and thought I should try to hide the fact that I had been there at all, she's saying. Good gracious! Why? Why? Why did you feel the need to hide your very presence?
Sorry.
Her dress is cute.
There, as I assured the court before, this is of no consequence at all.
Oh, please.
We must remember that this student had just murdered this lady's luncheon companion before her very eyes. Who could blame her for concealing a glass or 2 in her state of disarray?
What?
I'm sorry, what?
Yudi, I'm glad you're enjoying this. How are you doing this evening?
It's absurd! Oh, really? So do we take it that you are now going to accuse this vulnerable, young, and beautiful woman of mischief?
I'm glad you're glad. Unity? I love the Ace Attorney games, and I think this is one of the few I haven't actually ever played before. So, came out, what was it, last Tuesday? So I'm just like, yeah, let's do this. It's 2 on brand, not 2. What? No. This can't be put down to mischief. I'd like to know exactly how the lady took the glass from the scene. Did she stow it away in the same location that could have concealed a firearm? It would seem that she slipped it into a small handbag she was carrying. A handbag that could have concealed a firearm? A handbag, you say? Yes, Your Excellency. A small handheld pouch commonly carried by well-to-do women in England.
So, the beautiful lady has very graciously explained how and why she removed the glass from the scene now.
You read cursive? Not really, but...
However, the fact remains that this glass has absolutely no bearing on the case. This student has been trying to confuse the court with logical reasoning. Logic, that's funny. But in the end, it comes to nothing. No more pretentious accusations. You have wasted enough time already.
Indeed. The lady has offered a satisfactory explanation as to why she removed this glass. I think henceforth we can consider the matter to have no bearing on the case.
Actually, I would like to probe further, if we may.
Counsel for the defense, are you in agreement? No?
Well, I don't know, really?
If you want to pursue this matter further, I'm going to need to show that it has some deeper significance. Yes, you're right. She took the glass away in her handbag. There's deeper significance there. It's the handbag. Wait! The lady put the glass in her handbag, you say?
Yes, do try to keep up. It's already been explained to the court that all English gentlewomen carry handbags for small items.
Let me see. A little while ago, Miss Brett stated the following. There are no pockets in my outfit. I have nowhere to hide a gun. But what she forgot to mention was her handbag. Gosh dang it, man. In which it would be perfectly possible to conceal a gun. You're right. Giga-gasp. Well done, partner. I had a feeling you'd pick up on that, too.
What are you insinuating? You vile blackguard!
It's really very simple. The gunshot was heard when the defendant picked up the gun from the restaurant floor. As he didn't fire that gun, we can deduce there must have been another firearm at the scene. The true murderer's weapon. True murderer? Good. I'm doing great. True murder weapon, if you will. Isn't that right, Pumpernickel? You didn't even meow. It's fine. It's too late now. Doesn't count.
You can't seriously be suggesting.
Inspector Hasanaga? Yes? Did you or did you not search Miss Giselle Brett's handbag on the day of the murder? No, sir, I did not. As I thought. In other words, another gun, the one that was actually used to kill the professor, could have been hidden in Miss Brett's handbag.
No!
Order! Order! Order!
What is the meaning of this, Inspector?
The meaning of what, Prosecutor Iuchi?
Why on earth did you not have the lady open her handbag and show you the contents at the time? Thanks to your bungling incompetence, now she has to endure these uncomfortable accusations.
Brilliant work, partner. Now we have a chance to expose the real woman behind the mask. Do you think so, Kazuma? Don't die, man. You're bleeding. A sorry situation. Clearly you have no faith in the police.
Where?
As I said, I did not search the lady's handbag after the shooting. Simply because it was unnecessary.
Oh? Unnecessary in what way, sir?
I ought to thank the student lawyer, really. I have a piece of evidence here that I had completely forgotten about. Photographic print. Print is of a photograph that I thought would be prudent to take immediately after the shooting. The professor has a bull tattoo? As you can see, it clearly shows Miss Brett's handbag. Well, I never. You can see right through what's inside. That's right. Why would you say it so vaguely then? Why wouldn't you just say that, sir? Apparently, meshwork bags like these are the height of fashion in London at the moment. Are they? So the contents are clearly visible. Exactly. So there was no need to search the lady's handbag. there had been a gun inside, it would have been immediately obvious. As you can see, there's nothing to imply Miss Brett's guilt here. Thank you for helping to prove that, Naruhodo-san. Order! Order! Inspector Hosonaga, you will submit that print as evidence at once. Certainly, Your Excellency. Taking my Hosonaga-san of the incident shows his handbag on a chair by the victim's table. Think you've had long enough to cross-examine the witness, counsel? Court has now been shown considerable evidence.
One moment, Your Honor, as I would like to examine the new photograph that we have received. That does in fact appear to be a glass in there. But I have questions regarding this, what would appear to be a tattoo. Also, this spot on this chair. I have multiple questions. Not the least of which is the frick.
This photographic print, just submitted into the court record, appears to have no further significance. I'm satisfied that there is no longer any room for doubt in this matter. I must make my ruling.
Indeed. And there's only one logical conclusion. That the pathetic rookie slumped over the bench before us is the only possible perpetrator of this crime.
No. Just when I thought I was beginning to turn this thing around. In a worse situation than I was at the start. Kazuma? I'm sorry, Ryunosuke. Now that the cross-examination of the witness is over, there's no way to force the trial to continue.
Huh?
You mean this is it?
I must say, you put up quite a fight for a rookie student. But the weak are meat while the strong eat. You are wasting your time. There is no way to defeat true justice. A fact you can chew on to your heart's content from the inside of your cell.
This can't be happening. I'm really going to be found guilty of a crime that I didn't commit? Kazuma. His dream of going to study in Great Britain will slip through his fingers. Kazuma. What? Is there really no chance now of turning this trial around? You heard the judge. There's nothing about that last photograph the detective produced that we can contest. Which means there's no basis on which we can argue for the trial to continue. Very well. I'll now proceed immediately to the ruling.
So it seems unusual, given
Just done to work.
it seems we'll be able to report to the British government on time after all.
That smug little Ryunosuke Naruhodo. Having considered all of the evidence placed before me,
Yes!
I hereby find you. Oh, you did it.
Wait! Your Excellency?
Ryunosuke.
I don't think you can rule on this case yet.
Objection!
This amateurishness is getting tedious. When His Excellency deems that the trial is over, he gives his ruling. That is the most basic protocol of the courtroom.
Yes!
Have you had that glove on this whole time? Your Excellency, just a moment ago you said this. As a photographic print just submitted appears to have no further significance, there is no longer any room for doubt in this matter. I must make my ruling. Now, that means that if there was a problem with the evidence, some significant detail, I mean. He's doing it. He's really making it rumble. Then ruling on the case at this time would be out of the question.
Objection!
This is blatant straw clutching. Look at this photographic print. All it shows is the handbag the gentleman was carrying on the day in question. There can be no problem with this evidence.
I mean, I can list 3 problems for you, but sure. I know what you're doing, Rinosuke. Understand your objection, counsel. Certainly, the new evidence submitted by the detective has not undergone the court's scrutiny. However, I fail to see how we can glean any new information from this handbag.
Ha! My thoughts exactly. Really, the prosecution is becoming tired of this rookie's desperate wheezes.
Yes, I am desperate, but this isn't a wheeze. There's something about this photograph which just doesn't seem right. I gotta put my finger on it. I mean, one is obviously the placement of the chair, but given that the other chair was just directly opposite. Very well. Grant the defense one final opportunity.
What?
But be warned, if I am unsatisfied by your response here, the trial will be over with immediate effect. That's very ominous. Do I make myself clear?
Yes, Your Excellency.
Let's take another look at the photographic print Inspector Hasanaga submitted before. We'll identify for the court where in this print we see the significant detail to which you have alluded. Oh, gosh. It has to be that, right? Like, the tattoo. The tattoo seems odd. I mean, the real issue I have is the fact that when we examine the other pictures, there is there isn't a chair in such position as to be holding the bag and be across from and be that close to him. That being said, I can't. Like, it has to be the tattoo, right? Because that's notable in this situation. Identify for the court.
Yes!
Look at this! Here! There's a very unusual mark on the victim's wrist. That is true. Looks almost like a burn of some description.
Objection!
Dear me, I was pondering what new piffle?
Stop using weird words.
You would come out with? A burn, you say? On the victim's wrist? Certainly that has nothing whatsoever to do with the magnificent lady's handbag.
Yes, that is a burn mark, you're right. A burn from what? Go on, Inspector.
The police coroner also noticed it when he was performing the post-mortem examination. It was deemed unrelated to the cause of death, so he didn't note it in his report. What did I tell you? In any case, we have no idea when the victim suffered this burn, do we? No possible way of knowing either. See, they made it, yeah, it's too symmetrical. It doesn't look like a burn. That's the problem.
The more I look at it, the more I find myself intrigued by the curious shape of this mark. However, as Pascal points out, as a firm connection to the case can be shown, I cannot allow any further time to be spent on the precise details of this burn.
Frick. Excuse me, Your Excellency. It would seem Miss Brett has a lunch appointment with the Dean and other university staff. She would like to know if she may be excused from the stand now.
No!
Oh, of course, dear lady. We shan't hold you up any longer. I'm quite sure His Excellency is about to give his final ruling anyway.
What's your thinking on this, Ryunosuke? Do you believe this burn does have something to do with the case?
To be honest, I'm not really sure. I just need something. If I don't keep pushing, it's all over. I was thinking I should keep digging and digging. Hope that I might uncover something useful.
Yes, you're right.
I am? Like I am?
If we can just link that burn to the case, if we can do that, we might be able to pry this shutting door back open again. I don't know.
That says price. Wait. Prize? The prize is spelled with a Z. You're not making any sense. Just give up, Counsel. You can't possibly hope to do that.
Indeed. I'm afraid that without evidence, I cannot allow you to pursue what is little more than conjecture. If we had evidence... Evidence that irrefutably linked the burn on the victim's wrist to the case, then you would allow it? I would, yes. To tell the truth, I hadn't noticed that burn. But as soon as you pointed it out, what I did notice was the color draining from Miss Brett's face.
Really?
I have to find some link between the burn and the case. This is the moment of truth. It's time to find some evidence that proves what that burn really means. So then, the defense will now present its evidence to the court. Evidence that demonstrates the inextricable connection between the victim's burn and this trial. Well, butts. Alright. Cool. That's fine. Okay, I need to... It's a very distinct shape. Fired at close range. Fired at close range. He had a powder. Could he had? Yeah, like he had burn on his jacket. He could also have the burn on his hand. But the shape is just weird. Aha! There it is. Because we distinctly noted the fact that there was burn on his jacket. That's the evidence. It has to be. I don't know what else it would be. Oh, no, there it is. There's the shape. Oh, I was right, it is a bull. I knew it. I knew. I just had to keep looking for the shape.
Yes!
What's this, Council? Yet another print? Yes, Your Excellency. I believe photographic prints are an amazing invention. Also, did he not cross his arm like that the entire first act? Because I don't remember him having that on. So he genuinely must not have. But also, can I wear that under my suit coat at work? That's fine. I'll be like, no. It's from Japan. Anyway. When we humans look at a scene, we miss things. But in a photograph, things we may have overlooked at the time are recorded forevermore. Do hurry up, Rookie. What are you trying to say? To inconvenience this poor lady any further would really would be quite inexcusable. I don't think it's inexcusable to inconvenience a murderer. Actually, we may need you to stay with us a little longer if you don't mind, Miss Brett. You see, it's very clearly visible in this other photograph. How did the victim come to have that unusually shaped burn on his wrist? The reason is recorded here forevermore. What? How?
Objection!
You can't fool me with your little bluffs, boy. If that's your game, then let's see how it plays out. Show the court exactly what you mean. What is it in this photograph that explains the reason for the victim's burn?
Yes!
The beefsteak?
Actually, the point is the metal plate the steak was served on. The plate?
Your Excellency? Are you alright?
As you can see, there's an emblem on the plate. I guess it's some sort of trademark of La Carnival. This emblem on the plate and the victim's burn are exactly the same shape. Inosuke, you genius. You're spot on. Which means the victim must have suffered this burn while he was present at the restaurant.
Objection!
But even if that is the case, we can't know if it happened on the day in question or not. Could have been the day before, the day before that. Most likely happened at some other unrelated time.
Well,
Objection!
sadly, Prosecutor Ayuchi, chances of that are extremely slim. Thanks. Why?
Why?
The outline of the burn is clearly discernible. Such a serious injury would have caused quite a commotion in the restaurant. Wouldn't you agree, Inspector Hosanaga? I can't imagine having missed such a terrible disaster, certainly.
But...
I would say, looking at the picture of the wound, that wasn't suffered very long ago. And, while it's not a particularly large burn, it's extremely well defined, as the defense just pointed out. Was no mild burn, that's for sure. Can you be more specific, Inspector? Well, let's see. The plate was at around 90 degrees centigrade. A burn like that would have taken around 3 seconds. Bubbles, how hot is 90 degrees centigrade? That's real hot. And 100 is what boils water. So 10% down from boiling. So you could see what the victim wouldn't have let out a scream of pain then. I've been investigating at the restaurant for several weeks already. I've not heard anyone scream at all. As the head waiter of La Carnival, I can testify to that without hesitation.
What, you're a detective, not a waiter!
Yes!
There you have it. Something isn't right here. As the detective said, anyone who burnt themselves on a piping hot plate for 3 whole seconds would scream in pain. There's no question of that. Yet Inspector Hosanaga never heard the professor scream. Not on that day or any before it. That's right. The strange thing is, on the day he was shot, I didn't hear him cry out either. What are you suggesting? Well, the professor had carelessly laid his wrist on the plate for anything like 3 seconds that day. That would be beyond careless, I think, Counsel. And the rest of us in the restaurant, myself, the sergeant, the old antiques dealer, all of us would, without any question, have heard him scream. You just look confused and like you smelled somebody fart in the elevator. Like, I don't... Different face. Wouldn't you agree, Prosecutor Ayuchi?
Well, yes, I suppose.
That's my guess, Bubbles. Suppose that's if he was already dead, and I'm like, that's what I'm assuming. I'm guessing silenced gun, shot him, then when he picked up the gun, she fired another shot, thus to bring attention to the fact of the kid now holding the gun. So the question is, why didn't a single person hear Dr. Wilson scream? I almost don't believe it. Nosuke, do you think... Can it really be true? Never dreamt we'd arrive at a conclusion like this. But... I'm starting to think that maybe, just maybe, we've been led into a terrible trap. There's only one explanation I could think of to make sense of this apparent impossibility. On the day in question, when he suffered the burn to his wrist, Dr. Wilson was already dead. No man could remain silent while his wrist was burning on a piping hot plate for 3 whole seconds. It's clearly impossible. Apart from in one particular situation. Counsel, are you suggesting? Yes, it's only possible if the man was already dead.
Already.
Dead? Knowing what we know now, it's the only possible explanation. When the beefsteak was brought to Dr. Wilson's table that day, the professor was already dead.
That's madness!
Order! Order! Order, please! Council, explain this absurd notion at once. The victim was killed by a gunshot.
That's right. It's absolutely right, Your Excellency. This is just another ridiculous ploy by the rookie student. Clearly, he has no grasp of the facts.
Objection!
No, Prosecutor Ochi, it's you who has no grasp of the facts.
I beg your pardon?
As soon as it became apparent that the victim had suffered that burn while at the restaurant, this whole case was turned upside down. Or have you not grasped that yet? Your Excellency, the court must hear from this witness again. If it's true, as we now believe, the victim was already dead before the gunshot was heard, it's highly likely that Miss Brett knows something about it. Incredible. Certainly didn't anticipate this twist of events. Sorry to say, Miss Brett, that you will have to forget your luncheon engagement.
But Your Excellency...
I'm waiting for her to speak. The justice system in our country may be in its infancy, but rest assured, all reasonable doubt must be dispelled before I am prepared to pass judgment. Thank you, Your Excellency. Is it? Is this it? Yes. What was that smile?
Yes, of course. I mean, I'd be delighted to help. Especially if it helps relations between my country and yours.
Yup. Yep.
Miss Brett? You speak Japanese? Well, of course I do. I'm studying your country, after all.
Yeah, guys, come on. But then, why have you been speaking through an interpreter until now?
My mother tongue, the Queen's English, is the most refined and elegant language in the world. As a gentlewoman, I try to avoid speaking in your vulgar tones as much as possible.
Alright. She seems delightful. Take that, IOG.
But it seems the men in this land possess none of the chivalrous virtues of English gentlemen. So I can see that I shall have to lower myself to communicating with you all on your own level. Oh, well, you're the epitome of a true English gentlewoman.
I about said epitome.
We are truly honored by this lavish consideration you so graciously afford us.
I see. In that case, Miss Brett, I'm going to ask you to testify in your own words about the events leading up to the death of the victim, Dr. Wilson.
Dr. James Wilson?
So, we're finally going to hear her own words on the matter. Things are getting interesting, Ryunosuke. The victim's death.
Unfortunately, I have no idea when the poor man burnt his wrist like that.
A likely story. The waiter brought my steak. The professor and I raised our glasses in a toast. As far as I've heard, post-mortem reports show no other possible cause of death besides the gunshot. There's some other way a man's life can be taken without leaving a trace. Please, do show me. She poisoned him! But of course, this country's inferior investigative techniques probably wouldn't pick up on it anyway. How dare you! You poisoned him and then shot him after he was already dead so that it would look like the kid picking up the gun did it! Because they do a post-mortem and not an autopsy. Oh my gosh! You're the worst! That most captivating and beautiful testimony will go down in the Supreme Court's history. Thank you. What? Hang on. Easy does it. I hope this is the last time I'll have to sully my lips with the coarse tones of your unbecoming tongue. She might have a cute outfit, but her personality is far from it. Oh, forgive me. I hope I haven't insulted anyone. Do you? Do you? I don't have a good answer for you. I'm sorry. Not at all, not at all. It's a delight merely to hear you speak, dear lady. It seems very clear from your testimony that this boorish talk of the victim's burn is utterly irrelevant. I will be speaking to your country's Minister of Justice about what has happened here today. Minister of Justice? May that irritating little bully of a student be given the harshest punishment possible. This boorish tongue, I swear. Amen. She did. Huh? Thanks? Was that a prayer then? Are you making soup? I was just asking. You have to forgive the irritation, Miss Brett, and put up with a cross-examination now. I expect you've noticed that this little bully of a student, as you put it, doesn't miss much. I'm sure I don't need to remind you, Counsel, this will be your final cross-examination in this trial. If you fail to demonstrate any problems with this witness's testimony, I will be ruling on the case immediately. Is that clear? That was the head. Alright. Yes, Your Honor. Yes, Your Excellency. Then you may proceed with the cross-examination. Unfortunately, I have no idea when the poor man burned his wrist like that. Yes! Oh, really? But his hand was on the searing hot plate for at least 3 whole seconds. You can't not have noticed. Do you think so? Let me ask you something. Sorry. But since I arrived at this courtroom, even still now, the fly on those unsightly black trousers of yours has been wide open. You can't not have noticed, can you? Huh? What? Oh, what fun!
You hadn't realized? The dear lady is absolutely right.
As your friend, you've embarrassed me as well as yourself, Ryunosuke.
Why didn't you tell me? Dr. Wilson was a true English gentleman. He chose honorable silence over a vulgar scream. Can your tiny brains imagine such a thing? Oh yes, I think my tiny brain can.
You just walked into that, buddy.
Yes!
Well, I can't.
Anyway... On the way to brought my steak, the professor and I raised our glasses in a toast.
Yes!
As you testified before, you were drinking carbonated water. Is that right?
Dr. Wilson was only permitted to drink water at that time, if you remember.
But why carbonated water?
Which explains why he ordered that drink. Correct, waiter?
Exactly as you say, sir. Although, whether or not the professor actually drank any of the water when I delivered the steak to the table, I'm afraid I don't remember that.
Beep. Ah, I have enough English to understand that, at least. But for those of others in the courtroom, it means bless you.
It means the exact opposite of that. She said a word starts with a D. Yes. I said it means the exact opposite. Like, I don't know how you didn't understand. Good. We're gonna see. I think you mean it means the exact opposite. Correct.
Anyway... As far as I've heard, the post-mortem report showed no other possible cause of death besides the gunshot.
Yes!
Yes, it's written here in the paperwork. Fatal hemorrhage from ballistic trauma.
Yes. Luckily for all of us, a little burn on the wrist isn't going to kill us. As there were no other signs of trauma on the victim's body to indicate some other cause of death. It can only have been the bullet from your gun that put an end to this innocent man's life.
It doesn't make sense. The burn must have happened straight away. And the plate was first brought to the table by the waiter. Yes, that's true. But it cooled even slightly. Wouldn't have been able to make a burn like that. If the victim burnt his wrist on the hot plate as soon as it was brought out from the kitchen, then he must already have been dead at that point.
Objection!
And yet, the fact is that the victim was killed by a gunshot to the chest.
Nope. That's not what a post-mortem is.
Until you're able to show the court evidence to disprove that, this is a complete waste of time.
I concur. Prosecutor Iuchi is right.
If there's some other way a man's life can be taken without leaving a trace, please do show me.
And she's a medical student at the university. Oh my gosh. It's all coming up poison.
Yes!
Without leaving a trace.
If someone is shot, or strangled, or stabbed, or thrown from a height, however a person's life is taken, there are always telltale traces on the body. Quite right, dear lady. And as our police force has thoroughly examined the body of the deceased, there can be no doubt.
Well, they left out the fact of the burn because they didn't think it was relevant. What else may they have left out not thinking it to be relevant?
Isn't that right, Inspector Hosonaga?
As I've said, I always aim for a flawless investigation. Well, you have failed 6 ways from Sunday. Physical traces with all those causes of death, that's true. Maybe Maybe there's some other way of killing someone that doesn't leave a mark.
If, heaven forbid, you doubt me, young man, you're going to have to tell everyone how exactly you think the professor did lose his life. Otherwise, I'm afraid your argument falls rather flat, doesn't it? Oh no, perish the thought. Calling such a sweet young lady's innocence into question? On my honor, I, Takatsuchi Aiuchi, will cut down any who dare cast such aspersions.
We have killing someone that leaves no trace. We need some evidence to back us up here. Yes, evidence. I'm waiting on the girl from the university to pop back in.
Of course, this country's inferior investigative techniques probably wouldn't pick up on it anyway.
Yes!
Inferior? What do you mean by that?
In the lands of the great British Empire, police store everything found at a crime scene for later examination. But in this country, you investigate once and that's the end of it. Isn't that so? Quite right. Le Carnival is open for business as usual today, just days after the incident. Exactly. Which means that even if the investigation takes a different direction, vital evidence may be lost. It doesn't even occur to your naive detectives to try to preserve the crime scene.
Pomerump, she's a delight.
I'm trying to be as tactful about this as I can, you understand.
You're failing. Miserably.
A killer blow! The lady is as formidable as she is beautiful.
Amazing. He's actually admitting our police may be flawed. Perhaps Prosecutor Aiuchi is finally starting to see sense. I very much doubt that. Still, there's something about what Miss Brett just said. There was a moment before, something didn't seem quite right. What do you think, Ryunosuke? I think it's going terribly. No matter how much I press her, turning up any new information. Yes, as I suspected, she's a tough witness. I need to find a way to break her testimony. The cross-examination will be over. But that would mean to find a way to get some clue somewhere to help us find a chink in her armor. Kazuma? What, Ryunosuke? There's one thing I noticed. Something that's been bothering me. Bothering you? I mean, about Miss Brett? Actually, no. It's about the waiter and the coughing of blood! Sir, Inspector Hosanaga. Detective? Yes. I seem to react a little strangely to Miss Brett's last statement. I was wondering if it might be significant. Represent an opening, maybe. Alright, I have an idea. Try pressing on that last statement one more time. I think so, but this time, instead of targeting the woman herself, let's see what we can get out of the detective. Alright then. I wonder what Cosmo's thinking. Soon enough, I suppose. As I press Miss Brett on her last statement again. Inferior? What do you mean by that?
Plans of the Great British Empire, please store everything found at a crime scene for later examination. In this country, you investigate once and that's the end of it. Isn't that so? Quite right, blah blah blah. Incident.
Wait.
Well, evidence may be lost. How do I... Yes, there it is again. The detective's reaction is just the same as before. Why? Up until now, the detective has been in the stand with Miss Brett as her interpreter. But things are very different now. For this testimony, the detective is just listening to what the Englishwoman has to say. This could be a golden opportunity. Say what? When people are actually testifying, they're usually very careful not to let anything slip. However, when they're listening to someone else speak, you'll find they often let their guard down. Right, look at him, he's lost in his own thoughts. It's time to pursue the man and his train of thought. Sorry, what? Pursue? Explain how to do it now, Rinosuke. Oh, this is new. I'll also do with the witness marker. What? What marker? What are you talking about? At the moment, we're focused on Miss Brett, who's the person actually making the current statement. By moving the marker left or right with the directional pad, you could turn your attention to other people in the stand. This seems awful meta, Kazuma. While you're looking at the other witnesses, you'll be able to pursue them with A. If you can catch the person at just the right time, you might uncover some new information to pursue. You ever notice a strange atmosphere amongst the people on the stand? Take a good look around. Right then. So first I should move the marker across with that. Focus on the detective. Pursue him with A. See what's on his mind. Here we go!
Wait. Excuse me.
Excuse me! What the... What's the meaning of this? Dying. I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to shock you. Please don't die. He was lost in his thoughts. Deeply. Looked like you were thinking something just now, Inspector. Perhaps having heard what the lady next to you had to say? If there's something you'd like to say, please, share it with the court.
Objection!
What's the meaning of this? It's a delightful Englishwoman who's testifying at the moment. If you can't find fault with her testimony, the cross-examination should be over immediately.
Oh, is that how it works? Absolutely not.
Huh?
The detective is in the stand, which makes him a valid witness. Alright, I see the logic. Yes, not to mention the fact that he's intimately involved in the case. Inspector Hosonaga? Yes? Do you have something to add in relation to the statement just made by Miss Brett? Well, yes, if you don't mind, I would like to speak. The lady is right. Our country's police practices are not as modern as those used in Great Britain. Which is why I, Satoru Hosonaga, always strive to make every investigation I'm involved in flawless. What do you really mean by that? I'll tell you what I mean. We have evidence lacking on my watch. I'm not afraid to take everything I can from the scene of the crime. It's preserving evidence, you see. I don't care if they call me a crime scene thief. I'm not ashamed of what I've done. Wait, hold on. A crime scene thief? Did you steal the carbonated water and you've been drinking it this whole time? Well, looks like the lady's remarks touched a nerve there. Take this, for example. There it is. Is that? This is the bottle of carbonated water that I took to the victim's table on the day in question. And yes, it's lost all of its fizz, having been opened 3 days ago now. But it was carbonated water. I don't care what anyone says. Yes, there's some left in the bottle. Let's see it. One day our police force will be among the best in the world. The time is coming. I guarantee it. Can't say I condone the witness's actions. I do understand the sentiment, I guess. The court will accept the glass bottle of water as evidence. Miss Brett? Can you confirm this is indeed the bottle from which you drank on the day of the victim's death?
Yes, it was that bottle.
What was that about? She seemed to avert her eyes when she answered the judge's question. Very well. Counsel, you may resume the cross-examination. The inspector will kindly control his fervor. Ahem. This carbonated water is the last drink Dr. Wilson ever had. Looks like there's a little left in the bottle. It's just plain water now. You know, I've been sweating so much, I'm absolutely parched. Just have a sip of this to keep me going. No, Rinosuke. Can't do that. For one thing, that's evidence. Can you drinking evidence? Oh no, you're right. We might be inside, do we? You never cease to amaze me, Rinosuke. More ways than one. Could there be anything in this water? What's the matter? I'm going quiet all of a sudden. I might have just worked something out. Interesting possibility. Yep. Way to go, Rinosuke. It was written in a foreign language that I don't recognize. Do you know what it says, Kazuma? I think it's French. It's supposed to be very expensive water. Yes, but what does it say? That's why I was asking. Go to France and ask. Rude. You could just say that you don't know. We brought my steak. Professor and I raised our glasses and toast. Like, I know what I wanted to do, but I don't know that it will. This is the problem I have with the game, is not knowing where the precise spot is that it wants the evidence presented.
Yes!
Leaving a trace. Just touching traces on the body.
Excuse me.
What do you make of that, Inspector Hosonaga? I'm talking about the last statement. You're not helpful. Nothing strike you as unusual? Oh, okay. Just die then. That's fine. I don't think you need to push it, Rinosuke. Give some time. Right. Should be here.
Yes!
What is this? The bottle of water? Actually, there's one method of killing a man without leaving a trace that comes to mind. Obviously, I'm referring to poison.
Poison?
On the day of his death, we know that Dr. Wilson drank from this bottle of carbonated water. Could it be that there was poison inside? She didn't even react. Could it be that the professor actually died after taking a sip from his glass? And it's not her glass that she took when she escaped, it's his. Order! 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 And on that day, who was sitting at the same table as the professor and able to slip the poison into his drink? There's only one person who could possibly have done it. Giselle Brett. It was you.
Objection!
This is outrageous! Suggest such a thing without a scrap of evidence. You little rookie imbecile! You even consider the delicate situation our country finds itself in now? You've forgotten that we have only just signed an accord of friendship with the British Empire. Even the vaguest inkling that your rash accusations could jeopardize the entire treaty.
Objection!
This is not a political arena. This is a trial to determine one individual's guilt with respect to one crime.
What?
The fact that this woman is British makes no difference. We are here to determine the truth.
Ahem, if I may. I will silence you forever for this disgraceful
Oh.
It is you who should be silent. Of course. That's my bad. Dear lady!
Where did that come from? She just snapped.
I'm afraid I may have spoken unfairly before. I offer my most humble apologies.
I'm sorry, milady. To what are you referring?
I described your police force as inferior. But no matter how inferior they may be, you still investigated this particular point thoroughly, I believe. The bottle, I mean, Inspector. Whether it contained poison or not.
Of course. You did? You've forgotten what my guiding principle is already. I strive for a flawless investigation every time. I don't believe it. Naturally, we tested the inside of the bottle and its contents. And? What did you find, Inspector? There are tests for every toxin that's available in this country at the present time. I could find no trace of poison of any description in the bottle of carbonated water, Your Excellency. What? You sure? The tests were meticulously carried out by the chief coroner himself. You don't have a coroner, you have a medical examiner. No!
I'm very grateful to all you Japanese. I've successfully established my complete innocence in this horrid affair. Thank you. But of course, dear lady. The pleasure was all ours.
Shut up, you. I'm so sure. This can't be right. Everything falls into place if he was poisoned. Thank you, counsel. I think that cross-examination has clarified everything. As the prosecution have asserted, a shot to the chest from this gun is the only conceivable cause of death. Furthermore, the accused, who by his own admission was holding this weapon, is the only possible culprit. Done for. The court wishes to apologize for the great inconvenience this has caused you, Miss Brett.
Oh no. I'm just glad the matter is resolved.
Before proceeding, I must ask the counsel for the defense. Do you have any further new evidence to present the court at this point? Kazuma? Nope. I'm sorry, Ryunosuke. I have nothing more.
Well, if you'll excuse me now, I really must be leaving.
Hold it!
There it is. It's time for her to arrive.
Please, wait.
Isn't that... What is the meaning of this?
Forgive me for intruding on court proceedings, Your Excellency. Susato Mikotoba, Judicial Assistant to the Defense.
Katoba. My darkest hour. Nowhere left to go. She appeared like a bolt of lightning. In her hand, she carried a small package, wrapped in a furoshiki cloth. To be continued. Now I have to wait for the DLC. No, not really. Jeez, Bubbles. How rude do you think they are? The Adventure of the Great Departure, Part 3. Here we go, one more time. Everybody's feeling fine. Here we go now. Here we go. Well, I understand you're the judicial assistant to the defense, but why the sudden ingress into my courtroom?
Ha! A judicial assistant? And a woman, no less. The rules state that females are not permitted into this court of law other than to testify. Testify, testify. Yes, I fully understand. I ask only for 5 minutes of time. I have some vital evidence that I must hand over to the defense. Ha! You're too late, little girl. This trial has already been concluded.
He hasn't rendered a verdict yet. 5 minutes. I will not allow a moment more.
But, Your Excellency! I'm most grateful.
Hey, cutie.
Who exactly are you? I'm sorry, there's no time. Please simply accept this for now.
What is it, a report on something? Written in English? I don't read English.
It's Giselle Brett's research.
The Englishwoman's?
The trial resumed earlier. I hurried back to the university. Went to Dr. Wilson's laboratory in the medical faculty and borrowed this paper.
Oh, yes, that's right. Miss Brett was studying under the professor, wasn't she? So, does this research, whatever it is, have something to do with the case?
I'm afraid
afraid I don't know. I haven't been able to listen to the proceedings of the trial myself. Oh, no, of course you haven't. Special characteristics of curare and its effects on human subjects. Interesting. Curare, what's that? Never heard that word before.
Time's up. Prosecution demands the immediate removal of this female trespasser from the courtroom.
There's too little time for me to read it in detail. I've summarized what I could on a note just inside the cover. If you think it could be valuable, please cast your eye over it. Yep, gonna read it. This is wonderful. Thank you. Sales report has been entered into the court record. Detailing unknown poison that Miss Brett has been researching during her time at Yuma University. Goodbye then. Good luck. You've had long enough, Counsel. We cannot detain our English guests any longer. Hold up. Wait a minute. Poison made from the bark of certain trees and jungles of South America. Hunters of the region have used it since ancient times to incapacitate their prey. Affects instant paralysis of the entire body and subsequent death, even in minute doses. The above-mentioned effect occurs when the poison enters the body through a wound, such as inflicted by a blowpipe dart. Due to its ability to render the human body paralytic, it's believed that the toxin could have applications as an anesthetic. However, a solution for the respiratory arrest caused as a result of the full body paralysis, so you found first where patients would die of suffocation. Okay, but it can't be ingested. It has to be entered into the bloodstream. Okay. Cool. So there's no poison in the water. But via some other delivery. As the prosecution and the defense now one last time. Does either side have any further evidence to present to the court? Presume not, but...
The prosecution has made its case convincingly enough already. Nothing more to add, Your Excellency.
Kid Setting, welcome to the courtroom. How you doing? Inosuke, we're out of options here. This really is our very last chance. Yeah, I know. Your Excellency, the defense does have new evidence. The look. The yielding stare of a true Japanese warrior. Well, Miss Brett?
Yes, Your Excellency.
If you wouldn't mind, perhaps you could grace us with your presence a little longer.
It's a delightful invitation, but I'm afraid it's not so very long until tea time. I have to politely decline.
Forgive me, Miss Brett. Seems I wasn't clear. I realize it was phrased as a question. However, I must ask you to treat that as an order. Boom! Suck it.
I've said it many times before, but Japanese language makes no sense.
My apologies, dear lady. Suck it up. So, counsel? There's this new evidence that demands the court's attention.
Yes!
Mr. Zelbrandt, we understand you were studying under Dr. Wilson at Yuma University, doing research. Research, by sheer coincidence perhaps, into a deadly poison.
Huh?
Poison? Where are you going with this, counsel? That she poisoned him, Your Honor. A toxin known as curare, Your Excellency. Even the slightest amount of this deadly poison entering the blood leads to instant death.
Objection!
What complete and utter nonsense! Curare, you say? I've never even heard of it.
You wouldn't have. You wouldn't have done.
What do you mean?
I mean that you wouldn't have heard of curare before for one very simple reason. It doesn't exist in our country. It doesn't exist. Correct. Which means, no matter what tests the police can do for toxins, they'd never identify curare. Why? Because there is no test available here that can identify the presence of this highly deadly poison.
Ah!
Order! 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 Council, does this deadly poison truly exist? According to this report, authored by the visiting research student from England, curare has long been used by the tribespeople of South America, that makes more sense, as a poison to lace their arrows. Seems that it's reasonably well known among European doctors and scientists.
To lace their arrows?
The report states that it is produced from the extract of a tree that grows deep in the Amazonian jungle. It was first brought back to Europe at the turn of the century by explorers. Claims that animals shot by arrows laced with curare suffer instant death. Doesn't that about sum it up, Miss Brett?
Objection!
Trumpery! These aspersions are utter trumpery. To start with, the victim had been administered some of this so-called deadly poison. He would have been squirming and writhing in pain, and the diners would have surely noticed.
It's true. What do you say to that, Inspector? Obviously, I would have noticed a disturbance like that. Or anything like that either. Didn't notice the professor being in any kind of pain. According to this, however, it's the other way around.
What do you mean, the other way around?
The very fact that the victim didn't show any visible signs of distress is evidence that curare was used. Explain yourself, Counsel. The moment this toxin enters a person's system, it causes instant paralysis. In other words, afflicted victims lose all strength and are completely unable to move. Even if they were in total agony, there'd be no visible signs of pain at all. How terrible! Obviously, if the man lost all his strength in his muscles, he'd collapse on the floor. Unless he is sitting down. With a chair under him for support, as Dr. Wilson did, the effects could go largely unnoticed. I don't follow, Kazuma. It's just paralysis. This poison causes instant death. Guys, the explanation is extremely unpleasant. Poison causes immediate paralysis, as I said, leaving the victim unable to move. But after a short time, the paralysis is so severe, it causes the muscles that control respiration to fail. Respiration? In other words, the actual cause of death is suffocation. And all the while, the victim is conscious and aware, just unable to move.
That's hideous.
To the observer, it would look almost like the victim was slipping peacefully into an endless sleep. But for the victim himself, his final moments would be a living hell. That is the true nature of this deadly curare poison. And you're suggesting that this bottle, Counsel, actually contains this terrifying poison?
Objection!
I'm not, Your Honor. I'm suggesting his glass did.
This is all very convenient, isn't it? A hitherto unknown poison for which there is no means of testing? What a happy tale for the defense. If I may. All these facts you think are so clever, you must be taught some manners. It is you who must be taught. Of course. Dear lady! So, this is how you Japanese behave, is it?
What?
You steal another's honest hard work and then announce the result as if you discovered them? I'm appalled. What a loathsome act.
What? Well, Miss Brett, the feeling is mutual.
Whatever do you mean?
Capitalizing on the unfortunate circumstances of an innocent man to frame him for a heinous crime? It really is a loathsome act. Wouldn't you agree?
Objection!
Enough of this! I, for one, refuse to accept it. The idea of some poison that doesn't even exist in the great empire of Japan is breaking the rules.
What's so funny?
Oh, excuse me, Your Excellency.
Yes, Miss Brett?
May I borrow that bottle for a moment, please?
Well, yes, I don't see why not? I see lots of reasons why not, sure.
Don't get too big for your boots, you insignificant little island boys.
Wow. Sorry?
To an English woman such as myself, this whole affair is a farcical comedy. Little police games and these foolish courtroom antics. It's laughable, really.
Okay, well, screw you. That's fine.
I'm getting bored of it all now. It's time for the games to end. Cheers.
Wait, what are you doing? Proving there's no poison in the water. Because it was in the glass.
No sparkle left at all.
He had an open wound. Because he had just had the tooth removed. There it is.
Appropriate for this shabby affair.
It is a very showy way of making it there not be any, proving there's no poison.
Goodness. Whatever's the matter? You look quite stunned.
So, no curare. Bottle was clean. Is that what you're saying?
You look quite incredulous, little boy. But of course, that's the simple truth. Thank you for presenting the findings of my research so concisely here in this grand venue. Most kind. Thank you, waiter. Now then, Your Excellency.
Yes, Miss Brett.
I should like to be excused now, please. I think I've given more than enough of my time for the furtherance of friendship between our countries.
Yes, dear lady. I'm most gratified with all the assistance you've given. This doesn't make sense. There had been poison in that bottle. So how? How did she swallow a whole glass and live to tell the tale? I don't understand it.
Well, I suppose if nothing else, this little Far Eastern charade will
make for an interesting conversation at the next party I attend in London. I hate you more and more with each passing moment. There has to have been poison in that bottle, doesn't there? There can't have been, because otherwise she would have keeled over dead. Come on, Ryosuke. All the clues now. Bottle of water. Here's the problem. I can see either one working. On the one hand, bottle does not contain poison, and instead his individual glass did. When she stole her glass, she was actually stealing his glass to remove trace of the poison. More likely, though, given the circumstances of the game and the other information, the bottle contains poison, but because Kirari has to be absorbed directly into the bloodstream, cannot be ingested, that is why she can do it without having issues. So, contains poison. The culprit did put Kirari poison into Dr. Wilson's carbonated water. The defense refuses to change its position. You're serious?
Objection!
Fool! Are you blind? There's no possible way that bottle could contain poison. And we just saw
Miss Brett drinking the water from it?
That's right. Which rather complicates your argument, I think.
I believe that complication can be explained.
How exactly?
Think through all the things that don't quite add up here, one by one. I'm sure the answer is in the evidence we have in court record somewhere. It has to be. Very well. The defense truly intends to assert this claim. I must ask you to support the assertion with evidence. Explains how the witness was able to consume the supposedly poisoned water unscathed. While her own report, Your Honor.
Yes!
The answer to this riddle is right here in Miss Brett's own research report.
Objection!
It's not a valid explanation.
No.
After all, we don't speak English. The report is utter gibberish. This impudent young scoundrel is trying to ridicule the court, Your Excellency.
Not trying to ridicule anyone, honest. Just reading Susato-san's notes. I concur. This report is too extensive to be considered in its entirety by the court. Nope. That's not how science works. You'll direct us to the pertinent section, counsel. Which section of the report reveals the alleged answer to this riddle? One moment, Your Honor, as I re-examine. Special characteristics. We've been hearing a lot about this curare poison, and it's left me curious about something. Oh, counsel? Well, it sounds as though indigenous hunters have been using this poison for years and years to lace the heads of the arrows that they shoot at whatever prey they're hunting. So we've been led to believe, yes. And the point of hunting is to catch prey to eat.
Get to the point, please.
But if they were to use these laced arrows, doesn't that mean there would be traces of poison left in the prey the hunters were going to eat? Yes, good point. So surely, the hunters wouldn't want to eat their prey, would they? Because then they'd be eating poison. Good gracious, counsel! No, that would be madness. But I actually found the answer to that conundrum in this research paper here. Under special characteristics, it says this. The poison starts to work after entering the body through a wound. Through a wound, you say? I see. That makes sense. Yes. The mention of that particular detail seemed a little strange to me, though. But it all makes sense when you interpret what's written like this. When curare enters the body through an open wound, it has terrifying poisonous effects. However, when it enters the body via the mouth, it has no poisonous effects whatsoever.
What?
Miss Brett, you authored this research. You knew curare's special characteristics, and you knew that you could make a spectacle of drinking that water without any danger to yourself. You meddling little
Rapscallion!
Well, Ryunosuke, turns out you're an even better lawyer than I thought you'd be.
Really?
Me? Lawyer?
Objection!
All this poison talk is fascinating, I'm sure. But I fail to see how it possibly...
Oh, her mascot wings too.
So, the ill-bred little puppy has a new toy to play with. Some facts he read in a book. But I'm afraid knowledge doesn't suit you, little boy. It only makes you look silly.
What are you trying to say?
Your schoolboyish logic has a fatal flaw.
Schoolboyish? Flaw?
As even your brain has managed to deduce, curare is safe to ingest. It seems likely that its effects are neutralized by the acidic nature of the gastric succus.
Oh, yes, well, of course. Gastric suckers. Whatever they are.
So, this lethal poison is completely harmless when drunk. The professor wouldn't have died when he swallowed it, would he? That's right.
Good gracious!
That's basic science. Science that even a schoolboy should be able to understand, no?
Order! Order in the court! Order! Logic holds. If the lady and the professor drank the same poison, they'd be affected in the same way. Trying to suggest...
Yes, this curare poison is completely irrelevant to the case on trial. That's right. Surely even a little cockroach like you could understand something as simple as that.
What is this? Welling up inside me. I've never felt like this before. It's a sort of conviction to break down all the discrepancies. So intense. Almost rage-like. More than anything else, it's an animalistic desire to take down my prey.
Objection!
Well, that sounded like a baby's first objection.
Objection!
I don't think so, Miss Giselle Brett.
How dare you use that tone with me?
You know very well that there is no fatal flaw here. You know exactly why, even though both you and the victim swallowed the same poison. You are alive, but Dr. Wilson is dead. Counsel, I'm sure I don't need to remind you. Must provide compelling evidence. So we now know that this poison is completely harmless when ingested. Why would Dr. Wilson alone have been killed by the curare? Easy enough.
Take that!
As Miss Brett so readily pointed out, she drank the same water as the professor. However, there was a fundamental and fatal difference between the two diners. Fatal difference? Toxic effects of curare are only felt when the poison enters the body through an open wound. So, for a healthy person with no injuries, drinking it is completely harmless. But what if there was a wound inside the mouth of the person drinking the poisoned water? Inside? Yes. Like the wound you might have if you had just been to the dentist and had a tooth extracted, for example. Miss Brett, you've acknowledged many times in your testimony already that you were well aware of Dr. Wilson's dental appointment that day. So that's it. Use that knowledge to orchestrate this. Is she laughing? I don't like to repeat myself, but honestly, I can't resist. These childish courtroom games and your half-baked arguments are all so puerile. What do you mean? Don't worry, little schoolboy. You'll find out soon enough. You see, when you leave vital evidence lying around, you never know what might happen to it. No! I mean, could just slip. Oh dear, how careless of me. I'm afraid some crucial evidence may have just been tragically destroyed. No! What is it? What just happened? It's the Englishwoman. She smashed the bottle. The Supreme Court. Oh, terrible blunder. Officer, what are you waiting for? Collect up as much of the water from that broken bottle as possible at once. I'm wasting your time. This delightful carpet under my feet. Here is a gift from the British Empire. I assure you, it will soak up the water beautifully. You have neither the technology nor the presence of mind to recover it. How could you? You won't get away with this. You can thump the bench and shout as much as you like, little boy. I'm afraid we'll never know now, will we? If there really was poison in the bottle, or not. Let us not forget. We still have some very compelling evidence left intact. Isn't that right, counsel for the prosecution? Oh, of course, of course. Referring to this photographic print, I presume, dear lady? That's right. And really, looking at this photograph, it's as clear as day, isn't it? The poor professor was sitting with his back to me. So, of course, the only person who could have shot him from the front is the little schoolboy.
Objection!
No. You killed the victim that day, using curare. And then, in order to frame Ryunosuke Naruhodo for the crime, you waited until he picked up the pistol you'd arranged for him to find on the floor, before you shot the professor's dead body in the chest with your own hidden gun. Then, in the confusion that followed, all you had to do was turn the dead professor in his chair around. See? You had every opportunity to commit this crime. What a wonderful imagination you have, young man. A hidden gun, you say? I shot the professor's dead body, did I? I'm terribly sorry, but you don't have a shred of evidence.
Exactly. As you have nothing to support your wild claims, prosecution's stance remains unchanged. The victim, Dr. John H. Wilson, was killed by a gunshot to the chest. Delivered in cold blood by the accused, Ryunosuke Naruhodo.
unbelievable. How can this be happening? We had her. Now, is she really going to get away with it? We should destroy that evidence. Was obscene. Rinosuke. Yeah? Come this far. No. Now you're the only one who can finish it. I'm sorry, what? We've lost a vital piece of evidence, it's true. So if there are any clues left for us to use now, they must be in your head. My head? You told me before that your powers of observation were the one thing you could really depend upon. I guess, but you should notice that this woman was a foreigner with a swan on her head. Just think back again now. Try to remember every last detail about the scene that day. Everything you saw, everything you felt, every color, every smell. I saw, I felt, every color. Is Kazuma right? Somewhere in the vibrant memory of the same scene in my head. Could there be another clue to expose the identity of Dr. Wilson's killer? Oh, I didn't realize it popped up. I was pushing to move forward. Actually, Kazuma, I think I might have something. Thinking back over everything I saw, I think I might have uncovered another clue. Can you actually see that stain? I guess, kinda. It is a little darker there. You always have something up your sleeve, don't you, Rinosuke? Come on then. Let's wipe the smug smile off that Englishwoman's face with some evidence. Alright. Can't wait. It's been niggling me for a while that something feels amiss in my memories of that day. Whatever it is could be the key to arriving at the truth about all this. It's here somewhere. The clue that shows who Dr. Wilson's real killer must have been is the giant spot of blood. How is this a test? This isn't a test, guys. This is...
Take that!
Inspector Hasanaga, answer me this. Oh. Yes? What is it? Ugh, he's still miles away. I'm thinking about that bottle being smashed. As you've said a number of times now, you strive for perfection in your investigations, don't you? Absolutely. I wonder, therefore, if perhaps you took anything else from the scene of the crime. Like, for instance, the plate of steak that you took to the victim's table that day.
Objection!
Wait a minute!
Where are you going with... Where are you going with this little boy? It's just a memory that's been troubling me. What memory? I saw the scene shown in this photographic print with my own eyes that day. And I saw that on the wooden base of the plate the steak was served on, was a splattering of blood. What? Oh, really? And what of it? Obviously that must have happened when you shot the professor. No, that can't be the case. Take a good look at the photograph and the relative position of everything there. The plate of steak is almost directly behind the victim. If I'm supposed to have shot Dr. Wilson in the chest from the front, there's no way that blood from the victim could have ended up directly behind him. Yes. Blood to have made it onto the plate implies the plate is between the victim and the shooter. Which means the shooter must have been sitting opposite the professor as you were. Giselle Brett. I beg your pardon.
Objection!
This is beyond ridiculous. Fabricated nonsense. Is the court seriously expected to believe something the accused has apparently just remembered seeing?
Hold it!
This could be the moment that my entire career in the police force has been leading to. Inspector? You mean... Yes. I took the plate in the interest of preserving evidence from the scene of the crime. I took it, meat and all. I don't really care if they call me a crime scene thief because of it.
You did what?
The steak that you had been eating, Miss Brett. The steak that the sergeant had been eating. I did it all in the name of justice. Then we can find out for sure whether or not there's a blood stain on Miss Brett's plate. Let's examine it now.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Inspector? Of course, just examine the plate from the victim's table immediately. Yes, sir. Pumping up, what you doing? I'm making noises. Sorry for the delay. Here's what you ordered. The steak. Well, what about the blood? Is there blood on it?
Of course there isn't.
Quick, Inspector. The blood man. Show the court. Of course. Examine the plate at your leisure. No. No blood? No blood anywhere. But... No! That's... impossible! I saw it. I'm sure of it. It was right there on the table behind the professor. There's blood on the side of the plate. What an unbecoming expression, little boy. You see, this is why I always say you can't trust what the Japanese tell you.
Yeah, that's not okay. I couldn't agree more. In the case of this disgrace to the Empire.
I believe we may finally have reached a conclusion in this trial.
Let's hope so. This let's pretend attempt at courtroom proceedings is painful to watch. But I do promise to do my best to forget all about it when it's over. Ha! This sorry-looking steak reveals the facts all too clearly. If the sorry-looking accused wishes to examine it again, be my guest.
This thing has been entered into the court record. Is the plate I saw? I thought I saw just a figment of my imagination? Something on the side of the plate. Is it a cat? It's a cow, obviously. It's like it because the restaurant's signature dish is beefsteak. So A lot of different restaurants have their own unique tableware. It's a symbol of La Carnival, is it? Huh? What the? What in the world is this? I think it's a Coben coin. Hallmark is from the Hawaii era, I believe. No, I mean, what is it? I mean, what is it? What's it doing there? Wait, did you say it was a Hawaii Coban? Yes, apart from the meat juices, it looks to be in good condition. I imagine it's very valuable. This is the first time today that there's been talk of a Hawaii Coban. I've heard of pearls before swine, but I've never heard of bullion and bouillon. Bullion and bouillon?
They're right, Pocono. It's a good pun. Say it's a good pun, Dad.
I don't think you ever will again. It's extraordinary, though. This means... I never expected to find a precious coin underneath this thick cut of meat. It's from the Hawaii era, too. They're really quite valuable. It's well marinated in juices as well, look. Thinking... What, are you thinking of eating it? No, no. Some order a steak in an expensive restaurant. One thing's for sure. My heart's going to be racing as I lift up the meat and peer underneath for a prize. You might have the wrong end of the stick about this, Rinosuke. Underneath the steak. One logical explanation. That's it now. It's lost. Rinosuke. It's not over yet. On to the final gap. Don't stop, we're in luck now. Ship pumping. Oh, shoot. Never stop believing in yourself. Keep looking forward no matter what. No matter what. Believe in myself. Really? Maybe I should at least examine the evidence for myself. This evidence requested by the defense has not been shown to be problematic in any way. Presume any further examination of the evidence in this trial will be unnecessary. Does the defense have any objection? This is going to clinch the trial for me. Does the plaintiff's stake reveal any other clues at all? There's another clue. Your Excellency, please wait. This plate of beef is hiding another clue. The clue that will reveal the shocking truth.
Attention!
One thing that's shocking here is your unhealthy fascination with beefsteak. Your Excellency, I think I've made myself clear, haven't I? I'll not be able to turn a blind eye to any more unnecessary procrastination in this trial.
I'm sorry, Miss Brett. I must ensure a thorough examination of the evidence. I'll not give a ruling until I am completely satisfied with that all reasonable doubt has been dispelled.
I see. As a newly affirmed ally of my country, that's still your position, is it?
Thank you, Your Excellency. Counsel for the defense, you will now clearly show the court to what you are alluding. Where precisely on this plate of beefsteak is this new clue to be found?
Got it!
No, counsel, I'm afraid that won't do. Figures at best. If I detail like this... Wait! Just right here in front of me. What? Gosh Dang, I had to hit A. Huh? What's this? Come on. I didn't realize I'd actually lift it up again. I didn't know I could. Make the same joke again. It's actually a pretty good joke. Oh. So no, we almost made it through this entire thing without getting dinged once.
Got it!
Good gracious, that's Koban? What on earth? Oh, wait, Arrow wanted that. Miss Brett, this is in fact the beefsteak that you ordered at the restaurant on the day in question, is it? Tell me, why is there an old coin seemingly hidden underneath the meat?
Shut up!
A ridiculous question. How should I know? Never seen that thing before in my life. I don't know what this is, but I want no part of it.
Objection!
I fail to see how this is relevant. Coin under the meat? That could simply have been a careless mistake by the chef in a moment of distraction. A Hoei era coin?
Objection!
Don't be absurd. Just believe that this happened by accident in the kitchen? Where Hoei Koban just happens to be hidden underneath that piece of steak? This turns out to be relevant to the case. I'll rip up my ticket to Great Britain right now. He's right. It can't be a coincidence. Your Excellency. Yes, Counsel? Where Hoei Koban just happens to be hidden underneath that piece of steak? This turns out to be irrelevant to the case. I've got my lawyer job right now.
Objection!
By all means, don't let us stop you. No one invited you anyway.
Shut up!
Perhaps, little boy, you should realize that it is you who is irrelevant. No, I'm the one on trial here. Point is, it's essential that we ask the owner of this coin if he can explain what it's doing under that steak. The owner? Yes, it's obvious. And one person it can belong to. The owner of the Koban that was found underneath this beefsteak is...
Take that!
Obviously, it can only be the antiques dealer and owner of Asute, Curio Korakuta-san. Curie, isn't Mr. Cucumber something? Honestly, these ridiculous Japanese names are quite unfathomable. I hate her. Oh, yes. The old man who testified earlier alongside the military sergeant, correct? Yes, Your Excellency. I'm saying that he was up to something with his Koban coin when it happened. Exactly the moment the gun was fired. The gunshot interested me not. So I was too busy on the floor. Busy on the floor? Sorry, what were you doing? Hunting for treasure. Indeed! Oh, come on! My prize coin! Miss Koban, do you mean to tell me...
Objection!
No, no, no! Why? Please, why would Korakuta-san's Koban be sandwiched between the victim's beefsteak and his plate? Makes no sense!
Yes!
Which is is why I'm asking to bring Korakuta-san back to the witness stand so we can ask him. Officer, bring both witnesses that testified earlier back in here. Without a moment's delay. And don't let the lady leave. If we come back around to that pair again. I have a hunch. A strong hunch. If we chase down the real significance of this Koban, we'll find that it's a key element in the case. What's this all about? Why have I been called up again? Don't you realize it's dinner time for little boy Aedo? My son's belly's empty. He's fiercer than a pack of wolves.
Exploited by the police, we were like miserable dogs forced to bear false witness. And when cast from this court, myself, I became a ruined man in a trice, a worthless, withered antique. Nothing more have I to say, as I set on this rest to a sharp owner's existence.
Be that as it may, Korakuta-san, something has come to light that requires your clarification. As far as your Asute memory serves, you ever...
Ah! Yes, that's the one, the very exact one that is. That it is. The splendiferous hoary treasure that my rusty bones managed to misplace that fateful day.
It can't be. As I thought.
Young man, enlighten this decrepit old fool. Put me out of my misery. Where was my treasure? Where was it dropped?
Oh, I'm not sure if it was dropped anywhere. We found your coin sandwiched between a beefsteak and its plate, soaking the meat's juices.
Sandwich? Soaking? Seriously?
Clearly, it couldn't have fallen there by accident. Which means somebody must have hidden it there on purpose.
Somebody concealed my holy treasure between a slab of meat, a metal plate. Who would dare do such a thing? Such an unconscionable thing!
Excuse me. Could I say something? Yeah, what? Proceed, Inspector Hosonaga. I mentioned this earlier on in the trial, but I was working undercover in the restaurant in order to investigate another case.
Ah, yes, that's right. A secret undercover operation.
La Carnival is a high-class Western cuisine restaurant. Attracts wealthy diners, including many foreigners. Recently, there's been a run of similarly executed thefts, targeting the restaurant's rich clientele. A number of such incidents have been reported to the police bureau. Wicked crimes indeed. We wanted to nip the case in the bud quickly, especially with so many foreigners being affected. That's why you were sent in undercover, is it? Yes, I took on the job of waiter at the restaurant in order to flush out the criminal. It seems likely this Koban incident is the work of the same thief. So unbeknownst to us, there's a master thief at work in the restaurant on a regular basis. The place is already the scene of several crimes, it seems. I don't know about the master thief part, but... the identity of the person who stole and hid Korakuta's son's Koban is all too clear. What?
What?
The court would like to hear the defense's view on this matter. Tell us, who is the despicable scoundrel that stole the Korakuta's son's Koban and hid it under the stake?
Take that!
Obviously, it can only be you. Sergeant Ayesanosa. What? How dare you monster! Monster. I stole that Coban, did I? The master thief of Le Carnival, am I? You're seriously accusing me of these crimes, cadet? But it wasn't me. It was Ido. I was the mastermind behind it all. You would push the blame for your crimes onto your own son? Innocent little baby? It's you who's the monster, Sergeant Nosa. Ah! Oh. Clap. Ah! Nippon Imperial Army Sergeant Ayesanosa preparing to stand down in the Supreme Court, sir. What is happening here? Do any of you know the extraordinarily low wages the Nippon Imperial Army pays those it expects to keep our country safe? Understand that the temporary increase in taxation owing to the recently ended conflicts remains in place. I've heard it's hard for lower-ranking soldiers to make a living, yes? All I want is to put a hot meal on the table for my son. That's why you were stealing things at the restaurant? The place is heaving with money. Every 3 days, go there and do reconnaissance for a target. Now I'd enjoy chopping my way through a good steak at the same time. It's like he doesn't bother with a knife and fork even, which is worryingly believable. And your target that day was the old man in his caban? Yes, sir. He was an easy mark. I slipped a coin in my pocket without any trouble at all.
A veritable phantom thief you are. Never see it coming.
I was all set to leave the steak. I was halfway through devouring when it happened. Yes, when the professor was shot. No, wait. Yes, when the professor was shot. I knew that if the police conducted a search and found the coin in my pocket, I'd be finished. I'd too. So I had the incriminating evidence as fast as I could. On the double. Slipped it under the steak. Hoping that I'd be able to rendezvous with it again at a later date. Literally nobody. This is ridiculous.
Perhaps you could carry on with this absurd prattling on your own time.
Well, Miss Brett?
Oh, of course, dear lady, of course. How rude of us. I'm quite sure there's no need to detain you any longer at all.
Ow.
May the esteemed gentleman please be excused, Your Excellency?
No. Indeed. Theft of the Caban was clearly perpetrated by this baby-saddled sergeant. It certainly appeared to be unrelated to Dr. Wilson's murder.
Of course it is. Putting a corner in a lump of meat. The sheer nonsense of such an idea astounds me.
Nonsense, is it? Well, oof.
As for picking up your steak and biting into it without using a knife and fork, it's beyond nonsense. It's pure madness.
Very well. That all questions concerning this witness's testimony have been answered, there's no further justification for detaining her. Miss Brett, you're free to leave. Hold up.
Thank you, Your Excellency. Good luck, everyone. And good day.
Inosuke, what's the matter with you? This is no time for daydreaming. Oh, no, it's just something about Miss Brett's parting words there got me thinking. Can't quite work out what exactly. Something she said jarred with me. I think there was a contradiction in there somewhere. Something didn't quite add up. If that's the case, just stand there thinking. Make your voice heard. Sorry? Think later. If you don't call out now, it'll be too late. The trial will be over. Oh my gosh, guys.
Hold it!
Wait, Miss Brett?
Is it now?
I'm afraid, just one last time. Something I'd like to ask you. I'd like you to explain the contradiction in your parting words from just moments ago.
What are you talking about? What contradiction?
Objection!
What new student nonsense is this? Well, what parting words are you talking about, Inosuke?
According to a lump of meat. Sheer nonsense of such an idea astounds me.
My gosh, she hid the gun under a meat! Can't be serious.
As for picking up your steak and biting into it without using a knife and fork, it's beyond nonsense. It's pure madness.
Yes, right. She sit there exposing an undeniable contradiction. We need to see evidence, Counsel. Miss Brett's words truly are contradictory. Where's the evidence to prove it? Oh, frick. I don't... I don't know.
According to a lump of meat, the sheer nonsense of such an idea astounds me. As for picking up your steak and biting it into it without...
So... don't know what it wants me to present.
Take that!
Steak that Miss Brett had been eating before the professor was killed, yes. Go on. More accurately, Your Excellency, the steak that was on the victim's table just before the professor was killed. Aha! Because they had to swap it. Someone had to swap it. So...
They're just splitting hairs.
Not true. Doesn't something about the steak strike you as very unnatural?
Unnatural? What on earth do you mean?
It's extremely obvious. Talking about the shape of the edge where it's been eaten. Oh, interesting. I see you've noticed it too, Miss Brett. Just what exactly, Counsel? Just a few moments ago, Miss Brett claimed no Englishman could even contemplate picking up a steak and biting into it without using a knife and fork.
Of course she did. She's a refined English gentlewoman herself.
Then take a good look at the steak. In particular, the edge where it's been eaten. As you can see, there are cleanly defined, barbaric teeth marks there.
Ah.
Oh. Looks like Miss Brett has realized something. So, if the witness, as she claims, wouldn't contemplate eating anything without using a knife and fork, there shouldn't be teeth marks in the steak at all.
Objection!
But what is your actual point? Perhaps the delightful Miss Brett was ravenously hungry. Oh, whatever you say, dear lady. As I said, they must be leaving now. Afternoon tea with the Minister of Justice cannot possibly wait any longer. Of course, this will all be over in the blink of an eye. Rest assured, I'm about to put this rookie in his place. Fitting to... But enough, you irritating little spectacled samurai relic. Of course. Dear lady!
What's the matter, Miss Brett? Have we ruffled your feathers? Clearly, the witness knows what this means. She realized the catastrophic implications these teeth marks in the steak have for her. Yosuke, do you know where you're going with this? Yep. Yes. Now at last, it's all come together. Mysterious teeth marks in a steak that had allegedly been eaten with cutlery. The reason why the bloodstain I know I saw somehow seems to have disappeared. Most importantly, evidence that proves once and for all who shot Dr. Wilson that day. Except that these teeth marks in the steak are a little unnatural, as you put it, Counsel. What exactly are you suggesting that tells us? Everything, Your Excellency.
Everything?
Yes. I believe that these barbaric teeth marks in the steak here amount to conclusive evidence in this case. Evidence that will prove beyond any doubt who shot Dr. Wilson.
Conclusive evidence? How many times have I heard that today? You wouldn't know the meaning of the phrase. Typical Japanese empty threats.
Can you be so sure?
Oh, it's quite simple. If you really had such conclusive evidence, you would have presented it to the court long ago.
Actually, the evidence I'm talking about hasn't been brought before the court yet.
Hasn't it?
But just because it hasn't been shown yet, doesn't mean that the evidence does not exist.
Objection!
This is absurd. The trial's run several hours already. You say there's evidence yet to be brought forward? It can't be. I don't believe you have it.
Objection!
I don't. There's someone who does have it. Someone in this very courtroom. If that person is willing to submit the piece of evidence I'm referring to, solve every remaining mystery about this case. Very well. I have a feeling this will be my last request of the defense in this trial. Who possesses the conclusive evidence that will reveal the truth about this whole affair? None other than the investigator.
Take that!
Answer's obvious. It's Inspector Hosanaga. What? I have it. Yes. Think I've been withholding conclusive evidence? You know, for someone who also was looking to do a flawless investigation, never lifting the stake seems like an oversight. No. I'm not saying that. Everyone's attention has been focused on this stake with the teeth marks. Yes. Now, earlier this afternoon, Sergeant Nosa told the court the following. Enjoyed chomping my way through a good steak. And as well as admitting to stealing Kudasan's coin, Tosa slipped it under the steak. You watch it, cadet. I'm a superior officer. Sergeant Nosa, could you please confirm something for me? Was the stake that you put the coin under, in fact, your own stake? Attention! Affirmative, of course. I'd be a soldier in the Imperial Nippon Army, but still. I'm not brave enough to ask a foreign gentle lady if she'd mind me manhandling her meal to hide something in it. In other words, the stake that the detective submitted as evidence earlier was in fact Sergeant Nosa's meal.
Objection!
But that makes no sense. The plate was taken from the victim's table.
Objection!
Yet the gentlewoman doesn't take bites out of her steak, nor does she have any opportunity to steal the coin. Of course I didn't steal it. To even suggest such a thing would be an affront to the entire British Empire. You guys take all sorts of things that aren't yours. That's not the point. Well then, how do you explain this paradox? Exactly. Surely you're not going to suggest that the sergeant switched the two steaks over? You did switch the plates. Well, after it happened, I saw the civilian had been murdered right in front of my eyes like that. I panicked. As I said, I immediately lifted my steak and hid the coin underneath it. Then when the waiter announced he was an undercover policeman, thought I'd had it. If he decided to investigate my slab of meat, that'd be it. Begin my marching orders. So when the cadet here was arrested and taken off to the kitchen, I seized my chance. Yup. Dang it, Nosa. With military precision and timing, I switched my steak with the one on a foreign lady's table. What? You can't have... I never saw you do such a thing. It's called Operation Lightning Bolt. There's no time for strategic planning. It was do or die, I tell you. So, yes, I did what I had to be done. Unbelievable! However, fear not, prosecutor son. What now? I swear on the brass buttons of my uniform is all I did, sir. All you did? That's plenty, Sergeant.
Yes!
So, Sergeant Nosa switched the plates over. It means he took Miss Brett's steak and the plate it was on back to his own table. Yes, that follows. Inspector Hosanaga? Yes. Earlier in this trial, you told the court this. You said that you had not only taken Miss Brett's steak after the incident, but also the sergeant's. that to preserve evidence, you had taken both. Yeah. That's correct. Then please present it to the court now. The plate that was actually on the victim's table at the precise moment he was shot.
Shut up!
Could that possibly tell us now? I mean, a cold slab of tough meat? It can't have the slightest bearing on the case.
Objection!
No, you're not wriggling your way out of it this time, lady.
I beg your pardon.
Surely you're not that forgetful. Surely you remember the reason why the steak's pan promises to prove such a problem for you, no?
We're the ones who decided it was a problem, not me.
The reason the defense asked to see the plate was to confirm something the defendant remembered seeing.
Thinks he remembers.
Quite sure of what I saw, Miss Brett. Inside the plate was on the table directly behind Dr. Wilson. There was a clear splattering of blood from the gunshot wound to the victim's chest. I believe the defendant's memory serves him well. And now we have the evidence to prove it. The plate you were eating from, Miss Brett. Let's not prolong this any further. Inspector, we'll show the evidence to the court. Present the beefsteak and plate that was originally on the victim's table at the time of the incident. Yes, sir. Sorry for keeping you. Here's the other steak and its plate. Please, feel free to examine it. Bloodstain. It's clearly visible. Look.
Yes!
This makes everything clear. The blood you can see on the side of the plate shows that at the moment the victim was shot, he was facing the table with his back to me. In other words, it's impossible for Nora Hoda-san to have shot the victim.
It can't be.
In fact, there's only one person who could possibly have shot Dr. Wilson from the front. I'm sure everyone knows by now who that person is. That's right. Miss Giselle Brett. It's you.
The swan died. Outdone by a Japanese? Me? A Japanese schoolboy? No, no, no. Ah!
What is happening? What is cute? Just take the hat off, ma'am. What?
They're so cute. The little peeps. Just peeping a boot. Please excuse my little outburst. Briefly lost my composure. Most becoming behavior for an English gentlewoman. Forgive me.
Well, Miss Brett, I think it's time you told the court what actually happened that day. The truth, this time.
Gladly, Your Excellency. It was I who took the professor's life using curare. As you surmise, I chose a particular day for one very important reason. The professor had a dental appointment for the extraction of one of his teeth in the morning.
So you plan to kill the professor? knowing that no trace of poison would be found in his water. This curare is unheard of here in Japan. Sorry. Almost there.
Yes. Of course, I never intended to remain at the restaurant for as long as I did. I only needed to see the professor take one tiny sip of his water, and it would all be over. I placed the steak I had ordered in front of him to make it appear as though he had been dining alone, and leave immediately. However, before any that happened, there was an unexpected visitor at the professor's table. That would be me, I suppose. Yes, you. Who else? Such a trifling matter. The fact that you decided to come over to greet the professor meant that I had lost my chance to slip away unnoticed. In due course, the professor took a sip of his water and was paralyzed. Made sure he was sitting in his chair such that he wouldn't fall. There's no going back at that point, so I concocted a plan on the spur of the moment.
Jeez, sorry. I plan to pin Dr. Wilson's murder on this innocent man.
I happen to know that the professor always carried a gun.
Yep, too easy.
I decided to use that fact to my advantage. I had the bottle of curare in my handbag, and my own pistol concealed under my skirt.
Under your skirt? So I was right. There were 2 guns.
Yes.
Then I finished my coffee and got up to leave. That's when I noticed the professor's gun, which he presumably placed on the floor. That's where you were sure that I would notice it.
Everything went according to plan. Was the gun, as I'd intended. And just as you bent down to pick it up,
That's when you shot the professor with your own gun. Even though at that point he was already dead.
naturally, the gunshot caused a commotion, at which point the waiter appeared.
Obviously, I assume Naruhodo-san was the culprit and apprehended him. They took him to the pantry that adjoins the kitchen and locked him inside.
That's when I took the opportunity to turn the professor in his chair around.
Because, of course, you need to make it look like the defendant had shot Dr. Wilson from where he picked up the gun. And nobody saw her turn the dude around? Really?
So there you have it. That is the entirety of my misdemeanor. Your Excellency,
Yes.
I wonder, might I speak with you in private later?
No. Should call on you? No.
Thank you. Good day then, everyone. Hope you can forgive me, Naruhodo-san.
No? Do we just let her leave? She just admit to murder and we're like, okay, goodbye. It would seem this trial has finally run its course. Presume the prosecution is in agreement?
This can't be. Tsuji Oji does not lose. Not like this. Not the likes of this rookie student.
You better start getting used to tough opposition.
Ah! You know Suke Naruhodo?
Yeah?
That's my name.
This insult to the Hochi family name will never be forgotten.
Becomes conceited with age, Council. The old have to stand aside and make way for the new. It's the way of the world. May you never forget that. Rude. Also, he's like on the other side of the room. How did you do that? 1,000 millennia may pass. Still, Uchi clan will never measure up to the Naruhodo clan. This trial in the Supreme Court of Japan, well, I believe, go down in history as the start of a new chapter in our country's judicial system. Despite being summoned as the accused, you, Ryunosuke Naruhodo, presented an excellent case. Thank you, Your Excellency. I feel nauseous. Use of evidence and deduction to unravel the truth is a modern methodology. But, after all, it's only been a few short decades since our country opened its doors to the wider world. The Western ideas of science are rapidly gaining acceptance here. I feel sure that science will soon bring new methods of investigation and new procedures of justice. A new future of law awaits. What it will look like, I cannot begin to imagine. That is for the young to pursue. Zuma Asogi. Yes? For this trial, we're set to embark on a journey of discovery to the illustrious British Empire. Know all you can. Absorb everything of the wider world that you are able to. Do not forget to fulfill the mission imposed upon you. I understand, Your Excellency. What's that about? You look so grave all of a sudden. Ah, never mind. As for you, Ryunosuke Naruhodo. Oh, yes. In you, I sense... how can I put it? Unusual potential. I very much look forward to seeing how you carry that onwards. Thank you, Your Excellency, sir. It's time to deliver the final verdict. Hereby find the defendant, Ryunosuke Naruhodo, not guilty.
Yay! Yay! Yay!
This court is now adjourned.
Why?
Birthday, 2:46 p.m. Supreme Court, Judicature, Defendant's Antechamber 5. Can't believe it. Can't believe what's happened. I made it. I found myself and made it through that horrendous trial. Ryunosuke. Finally pulled it off. Congratulations. Well, couldn't have done it without you. Thank you, Kazuma. No, it was a pleasure to watch you at work. So, you owe me an extra large sukiyaki placed on my University Street. Don't forget. Good afternoon. All your hard work has certainly paid off. Oh, nope.
Congratulations to the both of you for providing Naruhodo-san's innocence.
Words are hard, okay? Shush. A trusty judicial assistant. You worked hard for that result too, you know?
Oh no, I didn't do anything.
Thank you so much. If we hadn't had that research report of Miss Pratt's, I don't know how things would have turned out.
Kind words should really be for my father. I was simply doing as he asked. It's his idea for me to go to the university and investigate.
Your father? Yes, of course. Court proceedings, Your Excellency. Soto, Mikotoba, Judicial Assistant. Mikotoba. There you are. Congratulations are in order. Naruhodo, you did an excellent job.
Thank you, Professor.
Oh, now. It is I who should be thanking you, after all. Your efforts exposed a true criminal that took the life of my good friend.
Good friend. Oh yes, you mentioned that before. It was you who actually invited Dr. Wilson to my university, wasn't it?
Yes, that's right.
Professor Mikotoba studied overseas himself. He studied forensic medicine in Great Britain. Presumably, that's when you met Dr. Wilson?
Exactly. In those days, we worked together in the same hospital.
Oh, you worked together? I heard you mention that before.
Well, it was a long time ago now. Besides. It's your turn now, Sogi.
Oh.
Great Britain is a magnificent country. It leads the world.
That's why they call it great.
Science, medicine, engineering, culture, of course, law. Watch and learn, my boy. See what's happening in the world's largest melting pot.
I will. I'll learn all that I can.
I swear on this, the spirit of the Asogi clan.
You're taking that sword of Great Britain, are you? Of course I am. Japanese man's katana is his soul. This blade shows me where I need to go. It cuts down anything that's in my way. Yes, I've definitely seen how sharp it is already with my own eyes. Reminds me, what's happened to the woman? To Giselle Brett, I mean. After all, she's guilty of murder.
Ah, yes, her. It's not easy to tell you this, but...
What do you mean? Surely she's going to face trial herself now. She's a true culprit, after all.
She'll be leaving Japan in the very near future. For Shanghai.
What? Shanghai? Giselle Brett will not appear in court again in this country. I'm certain of that. What? Why not? Consular jurisdiction. Sector Hosanaga. It was a hard-fought battle in the courtroom today. Very impressive to watch. Let's congratulate. What's all this about consular jurisdiction? You cannot try this particular foreigner for crimes here in Japan. What? You can't try her? But then, who's going to bring her to justice? The British consular court will hear her case. Somewhere far away, where our voices can't be heard. Why a consular court? Professor, I simply don't understand. If the consular courts were a thing of the past now, we've signed the friendship treaty. So in normal circumstances, you're right. Then so long as this is not a serious incident of a highly political nature to our respective governments, they can invoke a consular court just like that. Oh, can't they? Yeah,
She's a student. It doesn't justify our government's making secret agreements about her fate, does it? Something strange is going on. So Miss Brett can't be held accountable for her actions here in Japan. I'm afraid that for the young student, today's trial was nothing more than a game all along. There's never any danger of comeuppance for her. Don't believe it. Getting so tired. The British government's Foreign Affairs Ministry has demanded that we hand over custody of Miss Brett. I'm taking this case of a foreign student committing murder very seriously. It's all going to change from now on. We can make it change. This is a time of great turmoil. This new era heralded by the start of the 20th century. One day, I have no doubt that women will receive the judgment that woman will receive the judgment she deserves. Yes. Jeez, I'm so tired. We're the ones driving it. Well, I think it's enough seriousness for now. So, evening calls for a celebratory drink. Professor? Time for gloomy faces. Gosh, it's so hard. Should be celebrating Ryunosuke's not guilty verdict. Let's start having some fun. In that case, I suggest the Le Carnival. As a head waiter, I should be delighted to provide you with ample food and drink. You're a detective host, Nagi-san, aren't you? Let's not worry about details for now. To La Carnival! Will you accompany us, Professor? Of course. La Carnival's food is second to none. I should go attend to the paperwork for Naruhodo-san's release. Oh, yes. Thank you. So Giselle Brett won't be tried here. I suppose it means I'll never know. Never find out why she killed Dr. Wilson. Yes, Ryunosuke? Just want to say thanks again. That's all. Really saved my skin today. I didn't do anything. You were the lawyer in there, weren't you? Defense was all your own work. Not all of it. A lot. It's made a difference, though. One day, you should be the best lawyer in the world. Not sure about that. To be honest, it kept occurring to me over and over again during that trial. I'm thinking that maybe you're the one destined to become a great lawyer, not me. Just to become a great lawyer, not me. Just, what? Come on, be serious. Mine is all over the place. What helped you today was only right at the very start of the trial. You have a natural talent for it. Being a defense lawyer, I mean. Oh no, not me. No, all that tense verbal combat? I don't want to go through that again. Just decide what you told me to do, and that's all. Just because I knew I could trust you. That's the point. sorry. I mean, listen, Rinosuke. Do you know what the most crucial weapon is that any lawyer needs in order to win? Knowledge of the law? Nope. The ability to be believed. Or to believe. To believe? Believe what? Believe them at all times. You believed in me when I said I didn't do it. Human, just like you. You have some superhuman ability to know the truth. You have to make a choice about what to believe in and stick to it when you're defending someone. Sometimes in the country, really be backed into a corner. Being able to remain faithful to what you choose to believe in, even then, it's not something that anyone can do. It's a special kind of person. Today's trial. A student lawyer with a precious little real experience. She never stopped believing in me. Well, I face something you face seemingly hopeless situations time and again. She never stopped looking for the truth. And in the end, you found it. Through your own efforts. Because you never stopped believing in me. Thanks, Kazuma. To ask you, actually, Rinosuke. Well, it's a favor, really. Something very important to me. Sounds serious. What is... Ah, you're still here, are you? Oh, Inspector Hosonaga. Arrange some rickshaws for us. Let's go. Thank you. Be right there. Conversation again later. Should be celebrating right now. Your first court victory. And your study tour to Great Britain, don't forget. Ah, yes, that too. So my very first trial came to an end. Kazuma, Professor Mikotoba, Sato-san, who acted as my assistant. Inspector Hosonaga didn't really play much of a part, but still. Because of the help and support of all these people that I managed to get through that trial. More importantly, Kazuma hadn't yet managed to ask his favor of me. Little did I realize so much would change my life. End. All right, ladies and gentlemen. Defense debit. Thank you all for watching this. I hope you've enjoyed it. Interesting. Yeah. Thank you all so much for coming out tonight. As always, it is greatly appreciated. That does do it for this evening. Thank you all so much for watching this. Hope you enjoyed it. Tomorrow, I don't know what we're doing. I'll be honest, I don't know. We may try alternating between this and either Pokemon Unite or whatever. So if you have opinions, let me know in the Discord. I'm not gonna drag this on. I'm trying to think about things because I'm trying to keep my eyes open. So, until next time, ladies and gentlemen, this stream is adjourned. Good night, everybody.